you guys hear that there was a Batman show that came out? A new Batman animated cartoon of all things with some of the original people behind the 90s animated series. Like, this had all the makings of a brand new hit, but it came out a couple of weeks ago and nobody's talking about it anymore. Oh, but who's right at the top? Who is organizing this show? Oh, right, J.J. Abrams. Okay, the first piece of content that he put out after signing that massive $500 million deal with Warner Brothers, all he could do was excrete 10 simple episodes of a mediocre show that has more controversy around it than praise. The Batman Caped Crusader, which wasn't even good enough for Warner Brothers to put on Max to stream. They had to license it out to Amazon Prime of all things. Like, imagine that. You have Bruce Timm, who worked on the animated series to begin with. Okay, who has had a voice on the direction of Batman for a very long time. But this is yet another one of those examples, just like how Russell T Davies came back to Doctor Who because they used to be good. Doesn't mean that time is going to be kind to their talents. And this is just going to be getting back a shell of somebody's former self. And this right here is just, it's a wild ass take. It's absolutely insane. I'm not going to pretend to be a Batman aficionado. I'm not going to tell you the ins and outs of Batman's rogues gallery, but here's the thing, okay? Even for somebody with a cursory amount of Batman's knowledge, I know that he has the most extensive and most eclectic rogues gallery in all of DC and perhaps all of comics. Spider-Man's in second place. It's a close second, but Batman obviously has a legacy on him. And it's a diverse cast of characters, I assure you. So to have somebody like this, okay, Bruce Timm, come out and saying that Penguin was gender swapped because, yeah, that was the first thing. That was one of the first key pieces of art to come out where, yeah, you're going to have Oswald Cobblepot, okay? You're going to have the Penguin back. Oh, I'm sorry. You're going to have Oswalda Cobblepot come back. I beg your pardon? Like, they make this announcement after Suicide Squad kills the Justice League, put in a gender and race swapped Mrs. Freeze. Why did you think this was a good idea? Well, apparently one of the ideas behind this was because Batman lacks good villains. Wow. How can you say that? Like, how can you say that at all? Okay. And if that was actually a problem, wouldn't you just make up a female villain if that's what you were really aiming for instead of gender swapping one of the Caped Crusader's most iconic foes? According to the showrunner, Bruce Timm, the Penguin was gender swapped for Batman's Caped Crusader because he and the series executive producer James Tucker felt The Dark Knight lacked good villains. That is the wildest thing to say. Like, you would expect that take from just a random reply guy on Twitter, not from a showrunner, not from a long-tenured showrunner that has worked on various Batman projects. Timm, whose other additional DC animated credits include co-creating the animated series and helping oversee the subsequent DC animated universe that followed, provided the insight into the creative process while speaking at the National Academy of Television and Arts Sciences, otherwise colloquially referred to as the Television Academy, regarding Batman's latest television adventure. Asked by the Academy's Christine Champagne as to why he made the choice to turn the Penguin into a woman, Timm recalled, "James and I were talking about the overview of the show, and we said one of the problems with Batman is he lacks good villains. You got Catwoman, you got Poison Ivy, you've got Harley Quinn, but it would be really good to have more female villains, and that's the biggest problem apparently. He lacks good female villains." Okay, how can you with a straight face say that, you know, Harley Quinn is a good villain when she's just a two-dimensional sidekick for Joker? But yeah, Poison Ivy, fairly iconic. Catwoman, arguably one of the best female comic book characters, full stop. There is a proper Mrs. Freeze to Mr. Freeze. You have Talia al Ghul. I mean, I don't have any Batman comics. I'm not that deep into the lore, but I already can just pull some names off the top of my head and tell you that this is bogus. You had ulterior motives. Now, we really could figure out exactly what to do. Oh, I'm sorry. We could never really figure out exactly what to do with the Penguin. He's a crime boss. How can you not figure out cool things to do with a crime boss? What the gimmick for the Penguin would be. What if we gender flip the Penguin? And nobody said that was a bad idea. Huh. Interesting. Because that's not the only character that ended up getting, you know, gender swapped, or at least race swapped and body positivity swapped, because, oh boy, There was a lot of ugly art in this television show, that's for sure. Interjecting with his own recollection, the aforementioned Tucker further noted, when he said, maybe we can flip Penguin. I just got this flood of ideas. I was thinking Marlene Dietrich's in the tuxedo and Cabaret, the musical, in the art form of cabaret, and I just started drawing. I instantly got a flood of good ideas. I was thinking a little bit of Harvey Firestein and Hairspray and Divine. So you need to make it a fat woman in order to base your character off of a fat gay guy? That's weird. It was just like I knew instantly what it could be. Yeah, just make your own character, bro. You couldn't think of anything cool to do with Penguin until you could make him a flamboyant chick. Right. That was the mission statement for the show in general, said of the series executive producer. Added, to do something that harkened back to the original, but flip it. This is nothing like the animated series. I wasn't a devout follower like many people were, but I watched a fair amount of the animated series, but actually probably the most the Batman that I watched was the old 66 Adam West TV show. That was always the thing that was on first thing in the morning before I'd go to school. It was always campy and corny and fun as hell. So yeah, that's for the mystique that you're going for. Well, that kind of fell out of vogue a very long time ago. We've seen live action and animated versions of Batman on TV. Yes, we have. Very good. Now, taking his statement at face value, one can only wonder if this is truly Timm's personal sentiment towards the Dark Knight's Rogues Gallery, whether or not he's ever truly paid attention to the very property he's worked on. Yeah, how can you come to that conclusion, right? From Bane to the Riddler to the Joker, and even Timm's own personal creation of Harley Quinn. Yeah, he made that chick, okay? Because that's where she got her start on the animated series as the Joker's main squeeze, and that was the only time that she was actually a tolerable character. You can't tell me that there is any memorable incarnation for the better that Margot Robbie has brought to life, that she's had a decent run in the comics, because the only thing that's remarkable about that is how quickly she started scissoring with Poison Ivy. Very stunning, very brave. But yeah, at this point in time, Harley Quinn, for better or worse, is incredibly recognizable, and I don't think that there was a proper run. Like, if she was the big bad in their animated series and you wanted to go that direction, that could have been a unique take on things, but maybe that's also a tacit admission that, you know, Harley's kind of a two-dimensional character and you can't really do much more with her, and even James Gunn couldn't inject some personality into that cardboard cutout. But one of the next pieces of content to be released later this year in the DCU, I don't necessarily know how it fits, and I think James Gunn described it as being part of an Elseworld story, kind of like how Batman and Batman 2 are going to be an Elseworlds tale, and Joker 2 aren't attached to the official DCU reboot. There's the Penguin show that's coming out on Max that looks incredibly generic, but why wouldn't you want to try to raise the profile of your show by integrating animated Penguin, but then vice versa? If this ended up being a hit, which apparently didn't have much faith in it, you could have got people excited about seeing live action Penguin, but no, instead you decided to take very stupid and very basic approach to things. Big shock. But Batman's foes are some of the most recognizable and compelling throughout not just comic book canon, but the entirety of worldwide pop culture. Yeah, exactly. However, in the interest of fairness, given Timm's history with the DC animated universe, and the fact that that he only cited Catwoman, Poison Ivy, and Harley Quinn as examples of quality Batman villains, it's possible that the showrunner misspoke and actually meant to claim that the hero suffers from lack of any good female villains, an assertion, while still factually absurd given the existence of such other Gotham-based villainesses like Talia al Ghul, Lady Shiva. Yeah, see, that's a deeper cut than what I know. Okay, and even the Timm-created Batman the Animated Series original villain, yes, the Phantasm, which Mask of the Phantasm is always rated exceptionally high when it comes to animated fare from DC. It makes slightly more sense than his presented blanket statement. Yeah, the first season of Cape Crusader is out right now and it's receiving zero attention at all whatsoever. Like, it dropped through the first week of August to the last week of July, and nobody talked about it at all, for very good reason. Because if you have showrunners with thought process like this, you shouldn't afford them any of your time, and you shouldn't reward their bad behavior with your viewership dollars. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.